Welcome, fellow Storm Riders. Just by listening to this podcast, your life will change forever because the somnambulistic Santa Ana winds are getting hotter and drier and continuously losing mesmeric moisture. Live from Toronto, Canada, or at least within driving range, this is session 84 of the Brain Software Podcast with Mike Mandel, and I'm Chris Thompson. Please welcome to the show a man who needs no introduction, so I'll give him one. He's no longer hungry all of the time. He's thrilled at the amount of rain we've experienced this year, and his entire understanding of reality has just been shaken. He's our own hypno leader, Mike Mandel.
Yes, Christopher. Hey, man, this is going to be an awesome podcast, and I want to pre-frame it right from the get-go. This is going to be the weirdest one we have done to date, and Chris does not know why I'm saying that or where I'm going with this.
I'm very afraid.
I want to discuss the nature of reality in this podcast because I've had some things happen that have really shaken mine, and I sat up late last night talking to Michael C. Anthony, and now his reality is shaken big time, too. So we did our Robert Anton Wilson, the quarter game.
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of that on steroids. So we're rushing into, are we all hypnotized?
Is this an intervention?
It's his intervention.
All right. So let's talk about what's going to be happening here. We are going to also discuss
One of the things I want to talk about, Chris, is the PGO spikes. And we're going to be talking today on how you can hijack a situation when someone's under stress and turn it around for your advantage, provided you do it in a good way.
Hypnotically.
So
yes. This is all based on the same principles of hypnosis that are taught during instant inductions.
Yes, there's sound neuroscience behind this. And I have an example that a friend of mine just used a week and a half ago.
Use it ethically, folks. Coming up in podcast episode 84.
A power so great it could only be used for good or evil, Frodo. All right.
So let's dive right into it then. The first thing we want to talk about is
the electricity intervention.
Yeah, the electricity.
Oh, man.
Okay, so you actually told me about this.
I got you with it the other day.
You told me about this at some point in the past. You explained it, how it was this hilarious joke. Then I forgot about it, and you did it to me over text messaging. And I thought,
what was your response?
I was literally, I think I wrote back WTF.
You did,
and a bunch of question marks. And then you started laughing and telling. Anyway, so let's dive right into it.
So, electricity intervention is this very specific thing you can say either in a text message, an email, or online in a chat room
or in
something. It's not quite as effective in person because you want them pausing without seeing you when you do this and trying to put the pieces together. Basically, you say this threefold thing.
And audio is fine, though, right?
Audio is fine, but it's best if it's in text form, I think, if it's written. And this came about years ago. I used to play on a thing called Games Grid, and Michael C. Anthony and I used to have these backgammon for blood games, and he'd also fly up to Toronto once a year.
Backgammon for blood.
We'd play backgammon for a lot of money. I remember we had $35 riding on one roll of the frickin' dice, and I won, of course. And we would send the money to each other by PayPal immediately. So it was a lot of fun and a lot of shouting and calling each other horrible names and stuff, and just a blast. But we played online, and a lot of different people in this Games Grid. And we're serious backgammon players, but we are not above using psychology to win. And I'm playing this guy and did this electricity intervention off the top of my head and used it on so many players after that. It was freaking hilarious. Here's what I did. We're in the middle of a game, and I'm in kind of a tough position. And he's thinking and rolling and so on. It's all done electronically. And we're talking. There's a chat area to talk. So if you can shut that down. But generally, you're sort of back and forth.
Shut her down!
Shut her down. This stuff really comes out. You can yell, "Oh, nice move," or something. So he's making his moves. And I asked the electricity question, which is this. The intervention goes like this. ... Are you into ... You know ... Electricity? ? And it's such...
It doesn't even make sense.
Are you into electricity? And it's the pauses, like so you're almost afraid to ask because it's something obscene.
Like it's implied as some metaphor.
Or some horrible sexual thing that nobody talks about. And the guy types WTF, like multiple questions.
Like I did to you.
Yeah, what are you talking about? And I said,
nothing.
Nothing. And it threw his game for a loop. And I found I could do that lots of times, the way I did with the chess thing, with the remember I came up with the jack-o'-lantern attack. I'd make this really insane move that I found in no chess book. D4, if he responds with anything other than D5, I'd then play D5 and put in caps, the jack-o'-lantern attack. And people are like, what? And it would throw them off because they're running with a clock, a timer, and just wasting their time trying to figure out what I'm talking about. So I love this kind of thing. I recommend, if you want to just mess up one of your friends, if you haven't talked in a while, a few hours, just send them a text message and just say, or ask, are you into ... You know ... electricity ? And see what kind of response you get. Just a blast. I think that's the value added of this podcast.
Oh, man. Well, it is hilarious. But we are going to get into the PGO spikes.
Oh, yeah.
Use of, by the way, for those who don't know, let me pre-frame. PGO spike is just it's a neuroscience term that references how the body responds in terms of
the brain
the brain responds to shock, novelty, or surprise. But we're going to get to that. So this is a hypnotic tool that you can use when somebody is in a situation that is stressful or otherwise full of shock, novelty / surprise.
All right. So we're going to do that now, or are you going to come back to it?
No, we'll come back to it.
All right. Let's talk about that guy.
Okay. So
who just tried to screw up our business.
Yeah, so that was very interesting.
We're not going to say his name. We're going to say his first name is Brian.
Yeah, we'll just call him Brian in the UK, and that'll be our way of referencing him. Even though I'm sure if you were to hunt around and find our material online, he has publicly been attacking us. So his full name is out there, and he's put it out there himself. So
yeah, but why don't you say how this started, Chris, with the kind of emails that you send out? You don't blitz people, you don't spam people, and people have to be on our list.
Right, and we're very transparent about this stuff, so we'll just describe it exactly how it happens.
Yeah.
So as part of our business,
you can get Sweatman this because I enjoy the story.
We give a lot of material away. So one of the things that you'll be able to do if you ever click on some of our Facebook ads or if you're reading blog posts, there's usually some sort of call to action either right in the blog post or in the sidebar of our website that will invite you to get some sort of free training. And check it out. Just go to mikemandelhypnosis.com/blog as an example, and you'll see the stuff in the sidebar. We've got a clench induction tutorial, which is fantastic. We've got the power induction and instant induction tutorial, teaches you how all these PGO spikes that we're going to talk about soon, how they work. And it's phenomenal stuff. Sometimes a 10 or so minute high quality video training. In the case of the clench induction, we're actually giving you the same induction that is on the power inductions product, the training product, which is about 6 or 7 different inductions. And one of them we're literally just giving away in exchange for an email address. So people will sign up and give us their name and email address, and we will send them whatever we promised that we would give them. And in addition to that, we usually send some of our best content. It's called an indoctrination sequence, basically.
Well, that's an unfortunate term, but I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's called an indoctrination sequence only because that's the way it was taught to me. And it makes a lot of sense. You want to welcome people to your tribe and you want to send them some set of expectations. What can you expect to get from us?
Give them some awesome free stuff.
We're going to email you once every couple of weeks when we put out a new podcast, and you're going to be getting some of our best content. So we send some videos out over 2 days. There's 3 emails that go out. And then it slows down. Obviously, we don't spam people to death. That would be annoying, and people would click opt out because that's always there on our emails. There's an unsubscribe button because that's the only legal way to be doing email marketing these days. Anyway, this fellow Brian in the UK, he must have clicked on an ad and signed up for some stuff, and he got our free content. And the first email that I saw from him was a response to not an offer, but just some of the best of content that we send out. It was a video on power language.
Right. And this is a free video we send out. So just people can use this. They can just, in their own lives, apply this right away.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why I said this is part of the email sequence that has no offer at all. There is no offer attached to this. It's the indoctrination sequence, which is free content, nothing to sell.
Make friends. Check this stuff out.
So I'm sitting by my pool in the backyard playing with my kids, and I get an email from this fellow, and it says, "This is a con!" Bunch of exclamation marks, right?
Many.
Like, literally, he's calling our free content that has nothing for sale a con. Okay?
Right.
So I just wrote back, yeah, I see your point. Sending out free videos that have cool content is a real con.
And it was gently sarcastic.
I did not realize that this man was off his rocker at this point.
Yes, he was
But so I fired off the reply. And then I noticed he had also replied to another email. And now, of course, because he had opted into one of our tutorials that does lead into an offer for the Power Inductions video course, and it's on promotion for $7.
Right.
Remember, this is the same DVD training. Actually, it's a CD/DVD combination training that we've sold, and it's still available on our website for $97.
And people have bought it and been very happy with it.
Right, but we've been promoting it for $7 in digital form because we can do that kind of thing in this business. We have essentially digital training, so we can play around with different ideas, and one of the things that we have been offering is this $7 course, which basically becomes an offer to you once you opt into the tutorial.
Right.
You've gotten something for free that you like, and you go, wow, that's pretty cool. That's a great training
good.
video.
It's well put together. This is only $7. And then I'll take a chance on
that. And remember, from a hypnosis perspective, folks, full disclosure, this is about changing the relationship with listeners or readers and turning them into customers so that it changes the psychological impression in your own mind. If you become our customer, now you really feel like you're a part of the organization, which is great, and we treat you that way too.
Right. We treat everybody well.
And I know I'm talking to the same people who inevitably buy our products here, but I want to be very transparent about how this works. And it makes a lot of sense, and it works in everybody's favor. It's a very good thing. So we're giving excellent training. Anyway, all of this to say,
it's a huge win-win, except for Brian.
Well, so Brian, his second email, which I hadn't seen when I responded to the first. Again, same thing. He just said, this is a con. I will not fall for this con. And so I did not respond to the second email. I just thought, oh, no, wait, I did. I did respond. I said, dear Brian, don't really understand the point of your comment, but you don't seem like the kind of person that we want in our tribe. I am deleting you. I have deleted you from our system.
And he responded.
Which is done. So now he's no longer in our system, which is cool. But here's the problem.
He said, oh, you have a tribe.
Yeah, well, he made some... Anyway, I just delete his... I don't care about it. It's nonsense. You're going... Listen, folks, I don't want to use the family unfriendly term, so we'll just use the...
What? I'm wondering where you're going with this.
I was saying you're gonna. Okay, we'll keep it.
Well, just be very careful.
Yeah.
Let's get PG.
In life, in business,
yes,
there are going to be a-holes that we have to deal with. Is that okay to say?
Well, you've already said it. We'll edit it.
It's not. I've said it that way. I think it keeps it family friendly, and that's about as far as we ever go in terms of cursing on the show. There are going to be people like that in your life, and we have what do we call it? We call it a no dick policy, right?
Yeah.
We just don't hang out with dicks.
You've gone from a-hole to dick.
Yeah, I know.
What's next?
It's really bad.
Right to the F.
But that's one we have said before, right?
I've said it many times.
We've called
it a couple of minutes ago.
Mike and I have a very simple policy when it comes to business and friendships and all that. We just don't hang around with dicks.
No, we don't.
We won't interact with dicks. And anyway, I think everyone listening gets the point here. So delete. Just delete. Don't interact. Delete. Don't engage.
But that wasn't the end of it.
No, it wasn't. Because, so here's the thing. A nice thing that you can do if you're selling anything is engage in social proof. So that's why people post things like testimonials on websites and all that. So one of the best ways to use social proof, in my opinion, is to have people who have purchased or interacted with your business in some way to post their own comments. And you don't have any chance to edit them or anything. And the way you can do that is with Facebook comments. So we had a little Facebook widget that showed up underneath the offer page where people could reply and post their comments. And of course, because it's such a great training, and not to toot our own horn or anything, but it's a great product at a great value. So people were dropping lots of comments about how great it was, how they loved it. And he went, so this man, because this is now not our Facebook page, it's our web page. And I didn't have moderation tools turned on at this point.
Right.
So I had no way to delete any of his spam. Right. And in fact, to this date, it's still there.
Yeah.
Okay, so if anyone wants to dig in, they can go there and find it. But this is what happened. He went and he started responding to every single person, almost. It's not quite everyone. But it was
many.
Probably at least a dozen.
of the people who had bought our products and were really thrilled with it, and saying that these postings were all fake.
Yeah.
If they say, folks, if it sounds too good to be true, it is fake. Like, it's a con. This is a con.
And it went as far as, so let's say somebody posted a comment saying, I tried to buy this, but my credit card was rejected or whatever. And I would go on and attempt to resolve it and say, well, it might have been a debit card, or I don't know what the problem is. Maybe if you can email me with some more details, I can help you solve this problem.
Yeah.
And so he would reply to that saying,
oh, nice try, trying to make it look real.
Yeah, trying to make this site look legitimate.
I've been a policeman for years, and I know a con when I see one. Well, clearly not. Anyway, what was great was our students and all the storm riders worldwide just went after him on this thing, saying, you can Google me. I'm a real person. I love this product.
That's what I wanted to bring up. So building a sense of community in a business is really important. And so I think through the podcast, through the live classes, through the training that we've done, through being genuine people who actually respond to emails and care about helping others, we had just this onslaught of support.
It was wonderful. It's way better than us attempting to defend ourselves in some way. Yeah.
Right. So anyway, when somebody comes out and attacks you, hopefully, that stuff really comes out. I should mute my computer. The idea that if you're doing legitimate business and you're helping people and you're kind to people and you're supportive, people will support you. And when somebody comes around and attacks you, it will actually help you. It'll work out in your favor. So all of this support, I am sure, through looking at everything that happened, this guy's helped us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you. We love you, buddy.
No, I should talk about this PGO spike.
That went on way longer than
I said you could Ken Sweatman, and I didn't expect you to do 25 minutes of material, but it was still really good. So we're letting that one go. Now, Chris, we got to sort of keep it tight because we have a live webinar to the world in half an hour.
Yes.
So let's talk about the PGO spike. And for those of you who don't remember it from previous episodes of Brain Software with Mike Mandel and Chris Thompson, a PGO spike, it stands for pons geniculate body and occiput. It's a sort of a super highway in your brain, and it's designed as part of your survival reflex. So the example I love is if you're walking down a street at night in a strange city and you see down an alleyway someone lurking, hunched down in the dark, ready to leap out and attack you, you go into fear, flight, or freeze, effed up mode. You go you freak out.
Fight, or freeze.
Yeah, it's
flight, fight, or freeze.
Fight, flight, or freeze.
Okay, fine.
It's threefold.
Any happier?
I am. Actually,
of course you are.
Much happier. The bottom line is this PGO spike fires because of novelty, surprise, shock, and your brain goes, someone's waiting to kill me. So this fires in the superhighway of your brain. It basically switches off your executive function in the front part of your brain. And instead, this PGO spike clears the mind, as one of our students, Christophe, a psychiatrist from France, came over and studied with us, said, the PGO spike empties the mind. It clears it for new information. And that's when, if you jump in on a PGO spike and say sleep, or, sleep now, or amnesia, or whatever, you're firing stuff past the critical faculty right into the unconscious. But you can use this in every shock induction you do is based on a PGO spike. Jokes work this way. You hear a punchline, which is hilarious, unexpected. You laugh uproariously. You get a brief, limited edition PGO spike, not like something if someone, leaps out in front of you with an axe. You're going to get a huge one then.
And pattern interrupts of pretty much any sort cause a PGO spike.
Because you're being led a certain way, and then we're back to rhinoceros, and it's something else. Well, a friend of ours had a fender bender car accident a couple of weeks ago in the rain in Toronto, and he's a hypnotist. And guess what he did? He used the PGO spike of the crash to his advantage. He was driving along behind another car, and the law states that if you rear end somebody else's car, you are guilty. It's your fault. It always means you're falling too close for the conditions. And he normally does not tailgate at all. But the distance he was falling at, because it was rainy, remember rain doubles your stopping distance, it was too close. So something happens ahead of him, and the car immediately in front of him hits the brakes and does a brief swerve. He stands on his brakes. His car slams into the one in front, smashes on the front end of his car, in the back of their car, and gets up and jumps out right away. And there's a woman sitting there, and there's no other car in front of them now. It's taken off.
So hypnotist slams into the back of other woman's car, and the car that was in front of her
has gone.
Has taken off.
So
but was not involved.
There was
in
an
collision.
impact sound, and nobody's hurt. So he checks and says, "Are you okay?" She's clearly in shock, and she said, "I don't know what he was doing, but he's taken off." So he realizes she's undergoing a PGO spike now.
And she didn't even hit him.
She didn't hit him.
Apparently just stopped.
Stop dead. She said he stopped. I don't know why. I don't know what was going on. There was another car. So now the hypnotist is all over this. And he says, yes, I don't know what he did. He just stopped in front of you. That car pulled out of nowhere and stopped in front of you. You didn't have a chance. I'm amazed you didn't hit him. And she's just nodding, yes, 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 yes. So he calls his insurance company. She calls hers. They go to the police together, the reporting center, and she's reporting that this other car pulled out in front of her, slammed on his brakes without warning. All the stuff he put on her in her brain with the PGO spike, because it's essentially what happened, he thinks, but he just stood on that button to make it very clear because it's hypnotic now. He's getting the information in. So when they go into the police reporting center together, they're giving the identical story that it was neither of their faults. She could have said the guy behind me was following too close and slammed into me, but no, it was the car who took off. He took off. He left. That was the emphasis. Here's the end of the story. The hypnotist was told he'd have to pay his $500 deductible. There was $2,500 damage to his car, something like that. And his driving record would be besmirched with this, and his payments would go up on his premiums because he caused this. It was his fault by falling too close. When the adjuster comes around to the house, having heard all the stories from the police, the hypnotist is off the hook. He doesn't even have to pay his deductible. He gets his car fixed for free, and they give him a beautiful rental car to drive at the same time.
So we're not condoning this kind of
We're not saying
use,
act in criminal ways.
but we are pointing out the mechanics and the neuroscience behind this. So a stressful situation.
Especially a shocky situation, not just stress, but when there's a suddenness to it.
And he seized upon the idea that this woman was asking questions about, did you see what happened? No, I didn't. Tell me what happened. This car slammed on his brakes and then took off. That car took off. I don't know where he went. And then, boom, the yes set started. You don't know where he went. You don't know why.
Right. Yeah. And then they're both telling exactly the same story, and it's a no-fault issue, and they each go to their own insurance company, whereas normally the person who does the rear ending is the one who their insurance pays both. So it's amazing. So where do we go from here, buddy?
Well, let's talk about how can people take this concept, and we'll probably have to end the podcast shortly after that, but let's talk a little bit about what other situations can people use.
We can't end the podcast.
No, we have lots of stuff.
Really interesting.
You're right. Okay, well, we'll go on.
Just tell them to use it.
So how can people use this? What
in
other
a shock situation, realize that what you are saying, if you are congruent, looking at them, and keeping your language simple, they will tend to believe whatever you tell them.
And if you manufacture the shock in the form of a pattern interrupt, that will work.
Yeah, but driving into them, not recommended.
No. Forget the car accident stuff now, as in not really forget it as in embedding the command.
We get it.
Forget about the car accident. Don't focus on the car accident.
Right.
But let's say you've got pattern interrupts, you've got any kind of scare, any kind of stressful situation that isn't dangerous, but seems that it might be. You can seize upon this.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we'll let people have that flow around in the back of their mind and email us. info@MikeMandelHypnosis.com. Let us know what you come up with.
Okay.
All right, where else do you want to go?
Well, do you want to do do you want to go into...
We need our commercial break.
Oh, you're right. We're at that point. Okay, and now a word from our sponsor.
Hey, Dad, the most amazing thing happened today.
Hey, calm down, Geronimo. There's no need to shout. After all, this isn't a grain elevator.
But Dad, I met the most amazing man today. The class, we took a field trip to the museum, and there was a man with a cart outside, and he was making lots and lots of money, and he was selling burritos and tacos.
Whoa there, Jamie. I hope you don't have any crazy ideas about opening a restaurant.
No, Dad, but listen, there was a man standing there, and he was eating a soft taco, and we got to talking, and his name was Larry, and his DNA test proved he's actually Mexican, even though he didn't used to believe it. And now he's done something called embracing his heritage, and he's much happier. He even wears a sombrero now.
I'm sure he does, but the only hat you'll be wearing is this one. I made it for you last night. Here, try it on for size.
But Dad, This isn't a hat, it's a miniature grain elevator.
That's right, son. When you think of grain, maybe it'll help you to remember how hard farmers work every single day. So you don't get too big for your britches. You are still just Danny.
Yeah, I guess I am.
You're Still Just Danny, tonight at 8 p.m. Jingle Time on the Nelson Mandela Network.
All right, everybody, before we get on to the final topic of the podcast, I just want to mention quickly that Mike and I are going to be in Las Vegas in August for HypnoThoughts Live, and we encourage you to join the show. Visit htlive.net for details about HypnoThoughts Live, or if you're interested in taking our 2-day pre-conference course in Ericksonian hypnosis, visit Mike Mandel, hypnosis.com/HTLive 2017. So HT Live 2017. Also, our Architecture of Hypnosis class June edition is happening the 12th to the 16th, sold out now.
So it'll be over by the time you hear this.
Well, maybe it'll probably be. This will probably be going live while we're teaching it. But we are already accepting students into our November class. I think it's the November 13th through 17th, if memory is correct. It's on our website right now. It's already about half full because we opened the doors early to it, which is smarter this time. Anyway, MikeMandelHypnosis.com/class is where you get all the details on.
Come to Toronto in November, study with us. It'll be the last class until May of next year. So get in under the wire while you can.
All right, Mike, what's shattered your reality lately?
You know that you're the science geek, but I've got a good science brain too. And I did a 24-lecture course with Dr. Benjamin Schumacher, who's one of the world's premier quantum physicists. I did one in quantum mechanics to understand it, and particle mechanics, quantum mechanics. It fascinates me. We've talked many times about how the word quantum is bandied about by New Agers and that in ways that are not appropriate. Anyway, having done this course, I was reading all about CERN. And CERN is the European Large Hadron Collider in going around Prevesson, Geneva, and so on in France and Switzerland. And how with the work they are doing, one of the things you can do is actually draw matter and energy out of a vacuum. So you're drawing energy and matter out of nothing. And you're creating matter and antimatter. And antimatter, instead of an electron and a proton, it has a positron and an antiproton. So it's opposite charge. They annihilate each other when they're in contact. Now, the bottom line is this. A positron is an electron moving backwards in time. And this is all standard modern physics.
Okay.
So they're now making these incredible shifts, especially since the rise of quantum computing. And quantum computing is so far beyond anything up to this point. In fact, I think Elon Musk is now getting involved in it.
Oh, he is, yeah.
He's on the cutting edge. Well, there's this whole idea that one of the things that happened when CERN lit up a few months back and was on firing particles into each other at near light speed, trying to get them to break into quarks and, leptons and muons, and all these subatomic particles, which appear to be infinitely divisible into smaller particles, different quanta. The weird thing is, people are saying it has actually altered the space-time continuum of our present reality. And so we now have physicists, we're back to the quarter game, physicists saying that we live in a multiverse, a multiple universe, all occupying the same time and space. So if I arrive 10 minutes late, Chris, I'm in a different multiverse than if I arrive on time. And every decision we make, the tree spreads, and we're shifting universes depending on our decisions.
To infinite degrees of complexity.
Right. But the problem is, they're saying since CERN switched on, and here's where this gets so freaking bizarre, things have changed. Used to be one way, used to be another. I'll just give you some examples. It's called the Mandela effect, not Mandel, based on Nelson Mandela, because millions of people remember him dying in prison in the 1980s and saw his funeral. Well, Mandela just died a couple of years ago. It never happened. But there's others you can track. Mr. Rogers' song that he sings has changed. He doesn't say it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. He says this neighborhood now instead of the neighborhood. You said this. See,
I said this.
You're getting the wrong effect. But some of them are so bizarre. Listen to this one. The Bond film, Moonraker with Roger Moore, there's the villain is this guy Jaws with big steel teeth, and they're saying, remember this scene? And he bites through a cable, tries to kill Bond. He falls out of the cable car, and this beautiful blonde girl shows up. And it said there's something unusual about her. I remember what it is. She smiles. She has big steel braces that match his steel teeth, and they fall in love. They said, watch the scene now. She smiles, and there's no braces anymore. And so I told Ryan this. He said, shut up. And I said, this is backdated through time. He went and got the video from his basement he hasn't watched in 15 years.
No braces.
There's no braces now. And this
Now, as if that there was before, so you're just saying.
No, there absolutely were, because it made the point of the scene was that's why they fell in love. In fact, in Europe, they did a commercial after this playing on this. The actor, Jaws, who's like 8 feet tall, goes into a store to buy something with a Visa card, and he's big and intimidating. The girl's blonde, like the one in the Bond film, and as he leaves, she smiles at the camera, and she has the big braces like the girl in the story. So they're saying you can still find artifacts like Labatt's used to be the brewery. Labatt's Blue, but it's Labatt now. And people say Oscar Mayer Wieners, M-E-Y.
Well, it's like Tim Horton and Tim Hortons.
Yeah, but they're saying these tiny shifts. But then there's these huge ones. They said there used to be a landmass off the west coast of Australia. People remember it being there on maps. It's not there now. And the weird thing is, the artifact is, in the film Fast Times at Ridgemont High, two girls are talking, they're spinning a globe. And if you freeze frame the globe, the landmass is there on the west of Australia, and it's huge. And here's the one that's going to blow your mind. Remember the Malaysian aircraft that disappeared?
Yes.
That's where it disappeared, where that landmass used to be.
No.
So serious scientists are saying there is a ripple in the quantum field, and we've changed the multiverse.
So this isn't weird, woo-woo, crazy people
This
saying
is physicists. This fits in with physics. And there's videos online you can watch that say that this is because of CERN. And what's so bizarre is they do a video. CERN did their own promotional video. Oh, we're having fun at CERN and all of this. And then it's got a scientist sitting at a desk, and he holds up 2 pieces of cardboard. And the bottom one says Mandela, and the top one says Bond 1, like James Bond 1. He's smiling, holding it. Bond 1. Everyone thinks the first James Bond was Sean Connery. He wasn't, Chris. The first one was in a black and white film. His name was Barry Nelson. So you got Nelson Mandela, and they're smiling and holding this up. It's nuts. Remember you got kids, okay? With this, I'll close.
Okay.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Snow White, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't say that anymore.
What does she say now?
Magic mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest?
Come on!
And you can track it. You can look at your own videos. But here's the one that blew my mind. There's a Bible thing I've known for years, and it said, the lion shall lie down with the lamb. It's talking about an eternal time when all sin is gone and everyone's happy together. But the verse isn't in the Bible anymore. I looked it up, and it's now, not the lion shall lie down with the lamb, Isaiah 11:6. It's the wolf shall lie down with the lamb. And I went, okay, give me a freaking break. I went and found a Bible that's dated 1961. My parents gave me when I was an 8-year-old kid. It's changed in that. It now says the wolf. Last night I said to the minister of our church, where is that found in the Bible? He said, Daniel or Isaiah. I said, it's Isaiah 11:6. He went, oh yeah. I said, now it says wolf. He said, what are you talking about? In what translation? I said, all of them. He said, just a minute. Grabbed his and looked. It says wolf now. And the minister said, okay, that is really weird.
So there's only 2 possibilities here. It changed, or everyone remembers it wrong.
Are hallucinating.
That is weird.
Millions of people are hallucinating. So check it out, guys. Check out the Mandela effect. And like I said, Michael C. Anthony and I sat up last night for ages looking at this. Do you know who wrote the Peanuts comic strip? Charlie Brown?
Schultz.
Yeah.
Something or other.
Yeah. And it used to be spelled Schultz.
Yeah.
TZ.
Yeah.
Well, the T has disappeared.
Okay, that's
And
bizarre.
I said that to my wife. How do you spell it? She said it right. Michael C. Anthony said. I said Schultz. He said, check it now. The T's gone. And I went down and got the disc of Charlie Brown Christmas and looked at his painting on the front, and now the T is gone.
Okay,
something's happened, guys.
I just want to say, in full disclosure, I'm planning on doing absolutely nothing with this knowledge.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not. It's not going to change my life. Any that I know of.
Okay, let me ask you one final one. You know that famous statue, the Thinker? The guy sitting down thinking?
Yeah.
He's like this, right? He's thinking.
Yeah. Mike's gesturing the whole...
Bending forward, one hand on his hip.
Elbow on his thigh.
Yeah, head on the thigh, fist on the forehead. It's changed. His hand is now no longer a fist. It's open, and it's under his chin, and he's looking forward. Everybody asks, what do the Thinker? They sit forward, put their hand on their fist. You can Google it. It's changed. The statue's changed.
Okay, that is just
so I could tell I'm freaking Chris
right,
up.
so
Chris, give us our empowering question.
With that, we move on to the empowering
Mandela effect, guys.
Empowering question. What is my greatest gift or talent? In fact, let me just change it to, what is your greatest gift or talent? And how will you use it to overcome your greatest weakness? What is your greatest gift or talent? And how will you use it to overcome your greatest weakness?
Okay, now our empowering metaphor is really short. Lord of the Rings, my favorite book, my favorite movie of all time, all three. The Two Towers, the second one, Christopher Lee playing Saruman, the evil wizard. I see in the frickin' news, Christopher Lee died during the filming of The Two Towers and couldn't finish it. So they had to shoot it around him not being in it. When I saw The Two Towers, the second film, at the end of it, they're talking about him and they're looking up in the castle, but you don't see him. And I said, oh, it's because he died. I was telling my wife. Then they made the third film. Christopher Lee just died, I think, a year ago at age 92. I said, I absolutely remember this happening.
Whoa. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Brain Software episode 84 with Mike Mandel, and I'm Chris Thompson. Head on over to MikeMandelHypnosis.com. Sign up for all the stuff we've got for you there, which is awesome. And come to the Architecture of Hypnosis in Toronto in November.
Love to see you.
MikeMandelHypnosis.com/class.
Hey, man. Some people's physicist, dude, Dave Ambrose, just bringing it down to you, man. I took a break from my dimensional work. I just bought some time on the Large Hadron Collider at CERN. It was awesome, man. I ripped the fabric of the universe wide open. And when I came out the other end, guess what? We had the first black president. But it wasn't Barack Obama. It was Jimi Hendrix, man. It was awesome. He was playing a Stratocaster on the lawn of the White House. And the vice president was Ozzy Osbourne. And they were like singing and stuff, man. And then the Russians got like really jealous and they launched a nuclear war on us. But guess what? Our Secretary of War was the Wicked Witch of the West. And she sent all these flying monkeys over and wiped them out. It was awesome, man. Okay. Kelp them.